My name is Mark Latham. Name of the company is Farm Fresh Northwest, and our website's northwestfarmfresh.com.
How much have the leads increased since you and I first connected?
It's gone about double. So last June, we had 34 new customer orders placed in the month of June, and then this year we had 63. And last year we had 25 in July, and we're on pace to be a little bit over 50 for this July.
What is somebody missing out on if they don't schedule a free 13-point assessment for some one-on-one business coaching?
I mean, I think they're really missing on just being dialed in and you're not just playing a guessing game and wasting a bunch of marketing dollars at things that may or may not work. Or, like in the case that you just mentioned earlier, that guy had many vehicles that he didn't even know about, or just sitting there. You just a lot of wasted revenue when you're on your own. And I always looked at it like the $1,700. You just got to say how many more leads is that going to generate, and what would you normally pay for that many more leads? So if you get 17 more leads and you're willing to pay $100 per lead, depends on your, industry, um, or 17 more customers or whatever it is, that's only $100 a customer. So most industries, everyone would pay $100 to if they knew they were going to get a customer. So it's an easy way to quantify it. Once you get going for a few months and can start seeing the increase, it's like, okay, I'm paying $1,700 and I'm getting 30 more customers or 34 more customers. It's $50 a lead. So it's just I feel like it's a no brainer in that aspect because it's really just simple math. Like, okay, I'm going to pay these guys this amount. It seems it's really fair. And they're doing more than just one aspect of your business. It's not just like I'm paying this amount for only for marketing. It's for the entire business, all aspects of it. So I would say the majority of customers end up placing their order on their own. And then we get some people that are, either filling out the form, emailing me or calling, and they have a few more clarifying questions. Um, depending on what they're looking for, they don't see a certain product on our website. Um, but the step is once you place that first order, we base deliveries depending on where you live. So people that are actually in the city of Seattle, we deliver the third Friday of the month. Um, People that are kind of close to where we are, Stanwood, Camano, Marysville, they get delivered the first Wednesday of the month. So it's all based on where you live and allows us to deliver a group of 40 to 60 customers that are within, a 15, 20-mile radius. So we can be more efficient and cost effective on the delivery piece. But essentially, within the next 3 to 4 weeks of placing an order, you're going to get your first delivery based on where you live. And then about a year ago, we implemented a pickup option. So if people want to get meat sooner, they can pick up once a month directly from our warehouse office space.
How would you describe how business coaching has helped or hasn't helped you focus on revenue producing activities?
Yeah, I think that's the main thing because us small business owners are really, I feel like we're on our own and we're just kind of trying to figure out what works. And there's only a few people, like I've connected with a couple other business owners that are local, which has helped over the years. You kind of bounce ideas off of each other, but you're really just kind of seeing what's sticking, seeing what marketing is working, and you're really just going off your gut and what you think is going to work. But it's given like a lot of confidence. And okay, Clay and his team have grown hundreds of businesses over the last few decades. And so you get confidence in knowing like these tasks that they're having me do have been proved out over and over and over again. And so I can just go do it because I'm willing to do the work. And I think anyone that's come from a farm or any type of background where hard work, like you're willing to put in the time, but a lot of times when you're on your own and don't have a coaching or marketing service, you're really just working at what you think is best, and a lot of times it's not really the best activities that you should be working on. Yeah, we provide pasture raised beef, pork, chicken, and lamb, and our family raises the beef and the cattle and the pigs, and then we source chicken and lamb from other farms here in the Northwest. But the idea is to be able to allow everyone to get meat from the farm without having to buy like a half or a quarter beef at a time. So we started almost 10 years ago. September will be 10 years. And that was kind of our goal. We're selling a lot more halves and quarters nowadays after 2020. More people are willing to stock up their freezers, but our main focus is still kind of the small quantity delivery.
Since you and I first connected for that 13-point assessment, when we first connected, what kind of growth have you seen or have you not seen?
Yeah, we grown about like revenue wise, we're on track to be about 30% higher this year. And leads the last couple months, now that we're showing up, high on Google Maps and organic search results, we're about double the amount of new customers for June and July compared to last year. I think it helps you make decisions quicker because in the past it's more like once a year getting all the numbers compiled for the CPA to do your taxes. And so it's like, man, we should be making this revenue, we should be making more money, and you're kind of just seeing it in a rearview mirror from a long time ago versus doing it weekly. It's like, okay, maybe I should be shifting this thing around. Maybe I shouldn't be paying this much to, whatever cost drivers you have. But and I think like going to your conference first and like hearing about the tracking sheet and like numbers, it's a lot less intimidating once you get into it. Um, it just kind of it keeps you on track because what's going to be asked the next week or every week. You know what's going to be asked, and it's not like crazy things. And a lot of the tracking is offensive tracking. You're tracking sales and marketing dollars and all that. So there's still a fun aspect to it. If you are doing a million different things during the day and you have all these, people that you're managing and fires you're putting out or what, um, you just don't have time to sit down and look and nobody's questioning you because it's all on you. So, yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is like you're pulled in so many different directions. And the nice thing about the coaching is that it dials you in to, okay, these are the things I should focus on. These are tasks that I could delegate. And really for me, it was like the to-do list, daily schedule. Those things kind of have helped me free up my time so I can think bigger picture and notice other things that I wouldn't before.
How has it impacted you having a simple marketing plan that you know will, in fact, produce results?
Oh, I mean, it's a huge deal because I feel like that was where I spent a lot of my time of like, we've tried events, we've tried Facebook ads, we've tried, I was willing to try everything. And once I kind of figured out what was expected as far as like the videos, images, Google reviews, it's like, okay, and maybe it takes a few weeks to figure out like, how can we do this really well? And what can we do with like our existing client base? How can we, mine referrals or mine reviews in the best way? So it kind of dials you in. Okay, these are the activities I should be focused on, and then how can we, what's best practices that we could use, and or what are we finding in the field? Like I've just talked to McKenna or my implementer that I have weekly calls with, and I ask you guys questions of like how are people doing it, like what are best practices out there, and then also just like my sales guys figuring out like, hey, what's the best way to get reviews, and so we're kind of like just dialing it into. It gives you a clear picture of what I should be working on. This is what we should be working on, and now we can go try to like perfect it and get better at it. I think I never took the time to do a to-do list, and so I always kind of just like prided myself on, oh, I can remember everything. And then you get to building a business and it's like it's impossible to remember every aspect. And so then I'm just like constantly through the day, you're kind of stressed on I feel like I'm forgetting something and I don't know what that is. And it ends up being every day that you're forgetting something like, shoot, I should have done that. You get home or you get in the shower when you actually can think clearly. So um that's been helpful just to get things written down. And it takes a while to figure out like what your best way of doing that is, whether you're going to keep your to-do list um, on paper with you all the time, which I like to do, have it on paper, but sometimes I'm not close to it and I can put it in my notes section and then just transfer it over. But I used to always view that as like a waste of time I feel like I'm not working. If I'm taking time to do a to-do list, um, or like schedule. I would like panic and like I'm wasting these 30 minutes and when I could be doing some other task. And I think that was one of the biggest things when I first came to the conference of like, okay, it is actually worth my time to take time to kind of schedule things and figure out what I need to get done ahead of time. You can get things done so much faster when you have a to-do list you're working through. I think there's a little bit of hesitation because people are going to be like, oh, they're going to tell me how to run my business. And because most entrepreneurs are like a little bit hard-headed and are used to doing their own thing, not having a boss. And I would say the coaching piece is just more keeping you on track and getting you dialed into what task you should be focused on. And not so much like, oh, you need to change and redo everything that you're doing in your business. It's more like a lot of things that we do, we have been doing, we've continued to do, like on the operations side, and a lot of stuff we already doing really efficiently. But it's just more keeping you on task because if you're not tracking weekly, if I didn't have the coaching call coming up, I would be like, oh, we'll focus on reviews next week, or I'll go get those videos or images next week. And then it would continue to get pushed off because you're always going to run out of time. You're going to have your time pulled in many different directions. So I would say just like, it's not anything to be intimidated about. And it just helps you stay on track and nobody's yelling at you or anything. It's just more like you just have that natural thing like, okay, my call's coming up tomorrow. I better get these things done. Natural
Well,
accountability.
folks, on today's show, we're going to interview a man's man. Yes, this man's beard is the kind of beard that I want when I grow up. This man sells real food products to real Americans. He believes in providing a healthy access to food for people out there. If you have a family, you want your family eating healthy. That's what this guy believes in. He wants to provide you locally grown, locally raised, high quality food. He's the man, the myth, the legend. Welcome on to the Thrivetime Show. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
All right. So for people who want to look you up, what's your first and last name, and what's the name of your company, sir?
My name is Mark Latham. Name of the company is Farm Fresh Northwest, and our website's northwestfarmfresh.com.
All right. So here we go. I have my stack of stuff I want to get into here. So northwestfarmfresh.com. I'm going to pull up the website. Give me 1 second, folks. Bear with me. I'm pulling up the website right now, northwestfarmfresh.com. Pulling it up on the screen here. As I pull it up, could you share with the listeners out there what are the products and services that you guys provide at northwestfarmfresh.com?
Yeah, we provide pasture raised beef, pork, chicken, and lamb. And our family raises the beef and the cattle and the pigs. And then we source chicken and lamb from other farms here in the Northwest. But the idea is to be able to allow everyone to get meat from the farm without having to buy like a half or a quarter beef at a time. So we started almost 10 years ago. September will be 10 years. And that was kind of our goal. We're selling a lot more halves and quarters nowadays after 2020. More people are willing to stock up their freezers, but our main focus is still kind of the small quantity delivery.
Now, what towns do you deliver food to?
We deliver like the entire Puget Sound, so all around Seattle, but Canadian border down to Olympia. We deliver ourselves. And then outside of that, in Washington and Oregon and Idaho, we ship with UPS.
So
Um,
educate me here. If I'm looking at Seattle, this is Seattle right here,
yep,
and I'm
you can
kind of
keep zooming out a little bit.
zooming out a little bit. Okay. Yep. So kind of tell me where you deliver to and where you stop delivering to.
Yeah, so we deliver all the way down to like Tumwater, Olympia
Okay, down here.
down
Yep.
here. Yep, and then all the way up to past Mount Vernon up north, all the
Wow.
way to Bellingham and Canadian border.
Now I hear
Because
this is a
we try to stay out of Canada, but
I hear this is a beautiful area. I mean, how would you describe the scenery for anybody who hasn't spent time in this area? I'm going to drop in the man, let the man kind of look around a little bit. How would you
yeah,
describe the scenery of this area? You've lived there for a while, I assume.
yeah. I mean, I grew up in Eastern Washington, which is a dry desert, but you get across the mountains around Seattle area. It's a beautiful place. It's green, and we have about 2 to 3 months of summer where we're not getting rained on, and then the rest of the year is cloudy and gray. But during those summer months, it's one of the more beautiful places in the country.
Now, one of the things that's great about working with you and the clients that we serve, and that's why I only work with a select number of clients, is, we get to help magnify what you're doing. I mean, so we kind of get behind an entrepreneur who's solving real problems for real people, and we get to help you theoretically magnify the impact or reach more people. Since you and I first connected for that 13-point assessment, when we first connected, what kind of growth have you seen or have you not seen?
Yeah, we grown about like revenue wise, we're on track to be about 30% higher this year. And leads the last couple months, now that we're showing up, high on Google Maps and organic search results, we're about double the amount of new customers for June and July compared to last year.
There's somebody watching this who's a dentist, a doctor, lawyer, home builder, somebody who feels stuck. Could you maybe
Hmm.
share, maybe in a different way, or maybe in a way that
Yeah.
everyone can understand, how much have the leads increased since you and I first connected?
It's gone about double. So last June, we had 34 new customer orders placed in the month of June. And then this year we had 63. And last year we had 25 in July, and we're on pace to be a little bit over 50 for this July, just
Now,
off of Google leads.
now, I encourage everybody to check out your website. One, it helps your website rank higher, and two, it's also great to understand the business model. Kind of walk
Yeah.
us through the business model. Once somebody gets to the website and they fill out the form or they request information or they call you, what happens next? How does it walk us through how your business model works?
Yeah. So I would say the majority of customers end up placing their order on their own. And then we get some people that are, either filling out the form, emailing me or calling, and they have a few more clarifying questions. Um, depending on what they're looking for, they don't see a certain product on their website. Um, but the step is once you place that first order, we base deliveries depending on where you live. So people that are actually in the city of Seattle, we deliver the third Friday of the month. Um, People that are kind of close to where we are, Stanwood, Camano, Marysville, they get delivered the first Wednesday of the month. So it's all based on where you live and allows us to deliver a group of 40 to 60 customers that are within, a 15, 20-mile radius. So we can be more efficient and cost effective on the delivery piece. But essentially, within the next 3 to 4 weeks of placing an order, you're going to get your first delivery based on where you live. And then about a year ago, we implemented a pickup option. So if people want to get meat sooner, they can pick up once a month directly from our warehouse office space.
Now, one of the things I love about working with people who come from an agricultural background is you guys understand the idea that creating let's say, growing a crop isn't an event. You don't get motivated, sow the seeds, and you're done. Growing a successful crop or having a successful harvest involves tilling the soil, sowing the seeds, diligently watering the plants, watering the plants, pulling weeds every week, consistently watering every week, pulling the weeds every week, even when you don't want to, watering the seeds every week, even when you don't want
Mhm.
to, pulling the weeds, and then you have a harvest. And that's a lot like growing a company. I want to get your thoughts on this for a second. As a business coach, what we try to do is help great people like yourself focus on core tasks until success. Focus on core tasks until success. Kind of
Yep.
hone in the laser focus on the revenue producing activities. How would you describe how business coaching has helped or hasn't helped you focus on revenue producing activities?
Yeah. I think that's the main thing because us small business owners are really, I feel like we're on our own and we're just kind of trying to figure out what works. And there's only a few people, like I've connected with a couple other business owners that are local, which has helped over the years. You kind of bounce ideas off of each other, but you're really just kind of seeing what's sticking, seeing what marketing is working, and you're really just going off your gut and what you think is going to work. But it's given like a lot of confidence. And okay, Clay and his team have grown hundreds of businesses over the last few decades. And so you get confidence in knowing like these tasks that they're having me do have been proved out over and over and over again. And so I can just go do it because I'm willing to do the work. And I think anyone that's come from a farm or any type of background where hard work, like you're willing to put in the time, but a lot of times when you're on your own and don't have a coaching or marketing service, you're really just working at what you think is best, and a lot of times it's not really the best activities that you should be working on.
Now, I always frame growing a business. There's so many steps to growing a company, but I always frame it in three main phases. You have offense, defense, special teams. Offense, I would argue that 9 out of 10 entrepreneurs that I meet get really excited about offense. They go, oh, marketing, branding, websites, video, social media ads. Woo, that's marketing.
Yeah.
Wow, new idea, marketing. Let's go. Marketing, big vision, marketing. Then there's defense. I would argue 1 out of 10 entrepreneurs like that topic. That's, it's not about how much money you make. It's about how much money you keep. It's tracking where your revenue's going, how much
Hmm.
money's coming in, where it's going out. And then special teams. And I would argue that almost nobody wants to talk about special teams because a special team is required to make your dream work. And a lot of people have a great system, but they have people that don't want to be there, or people who quit but keep showing up, or B players and C players trying to run A player systems. And it just
Yep.
doesn't work. The person with the best players wins. So let's go step by step: offense, defense, special teams. We'll start off with defense. Tracking. I always tell people you got to track or you're going to slack. You have to measure what you treasure. How has diligently tracking your numbers on a weekly basis impacted your overall success or lack thereof?
I think it helps you make decisions quicker because in the past it's more like once a year getting all the numbers compiled for the CPA to do your taxes. And so it's like, man, we should be making this revenue, we should be making more money, and you're kind of just seeing it in a rearview mirror from a long time ago versus doing it weekly. It's like, okay, maybe I should be shifting this thing around. Maybe I shouldn't be paying this much to, whatever cost drivers you have. But um and I think like going to your conference first and like hearing about the tracking sheet and like numbers, it's a lot less intimidating once you get into it. Um, it just kind of it keeps you on track because you know what's going to be asked the next week or every week. You know what's going to be asked, and it's not like crazy things. And a lot of the tracking is offensive tracking. You're tracking sales and marketing dollars and all that. So there's still a fun aspect to it.
I'm not ripping anybody watching this show. I'm just giving an example, and I won't mention the name of the person and I won't mention their industry, but I want to get your thoughts on this. I did a 13-point assessment, true story, with a person just the other day. They're in the construction field. That's a multi-million dollar company. They're doing more than $15 million a year of revenue. And we're going through our 13-point assessment. And I'm not kidding. During the 13-point assessment, he discovered, I said, how many vehicles do you have? And he tells me the number. And I said, are you sure? And he said, why are you asking me again? I'm just curious, like, how many vehicles do you have related to your work? And we start going through, and there's that moment where I could hear him on the phone going, uh-oh. I could hear the inner dialogue of, uh-oh, or, huh? Or what? It could feel the tension. And he says, you know what? Come to think about it, I don't know how many vehicles we do have. Turns out this man we found over, not exaggerating, I'm just being very clear. We found 5 vehicles, then 6 vehicles, then 7. So if you count equipment and vehicles, we're talking about bobcats, earth movers, work trucks. We found 7 vehicles worth in excess of $50,000 that he's making payments on that he hasn't used and that are in a warehouse somewhere, and he doesn't know where they are and has not used them for a long time. And we're going through the process, and he's like, I don't even know why I have these vehicles, let alone why I'm paying for these vehicles. I haven't used these vehicles in a long time. And just the very act of even asking the questions about, where's his money going, he told me before he got off the call, he goes, I think you may have saved me 10 grand a month by just looking at my numbers. He said, normally we look at our numbers annually. I want to get your thoughts on that. How is it possible? Because when I do an assessment with an entrepreneur, at least 90% of the time, most entrepreneurs aren't tracking weekly. They're usually tracking quarterly
Yeah.
or annually. Could you maybe
Yeah.
explain how it is possible for a very sane adult business owner to discover that they have multiple vehicles that they don't use, but yet they're paying for?
Well, I think you get pulled in a lot of different directions if you're running your own business. And then, I mean, I would guess that he's probably, it's a pretty big business. And if you are doing a million different things during the day and you have all these, people that you're managing and fires you're putting out or what, um, you just don't have time to sit down and look and nobody's questioning you because it's all on you. So, Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is like you're pulled in so many different directions. And the nice thing about the coaching is that it dials you in to, okay, these are the things I should focus on. These are tasks that I could delegate. And really for me, it was like the to-do list, daily schedule. Those things kind of have helped me free up my time so I can think bigger picture and notice other things that I wouldn't before.
Offense, folks. Offense. What's offense? Offense is scoring points. Offense is sales. Offense is marketing, branding. One of the things we like to do is we want to help you build a first-class website that converts your ideal and likely buyers into actual buyers. Yes, we want to help you build a website that helps you get in front of your ideal and likely buyers and convert those buyers into actual buyers. I want to get your thoughts on this. How has it impacted you having a simple, although repetitive, system that you know that, wow, if I just do the system, it's going to produce leads? Because I see a lot of entrepreneurs that have very clever, very witty, very creative
Mm-hmm.
marketing campaigns that are not being executed. And what I try to do is make it very simple, very repeatable. How has it impacted you having a simple marketing plan that you know will, in fact, produce results?
Oh, I mean, it's a huge deal because I feel like that was where I spent a lot of my time of like, we've tried events, we've tried Facebook ads, we've tried, I was willing to try everything. And once I kind of figured out what was expected as far as like the videos, images, Google reviews, it's like, okay, and maybe it takes a few weeks to figure out like, how can we do this really well? And what can we do with like our existing client base? How can we, mine referrals or mine reviews in the best way? So it kind of dials you in. Okay, these are the activities I should be focused on, and then how can we, what's best practices that we could use, and or what are we finding in the field? Like I've just talked to McKenna or my implementer that I have weekly calls with, and I ask you guys questions of like how are people doing it, like what are best practices out there, and then also just like my sales guys figuring out like, hey, what's the best way to get reviews? And so we're kind of like just dialing it into it gives you a clear picture of what I should be working on. This is what we should be working on, and now we can go try to like perfect it and get better at it.
Special teams is kind of this area of finding great players, great employees, great teammates, and managing them. Finding great teammates and managing them. And so I want to get into the managing of this. You're not going to have success as an entrepreneur. You can't build an organization if you're not organized. You just cannot build an organization if you're not organized. You can't scale a daily fail. Unless you can master your daily schedule, you can't master business. You just have to get very, very good at doing a daily to-do list, a daily calendar, and then managing a team of people that have a daily to-do list and daily calendar. Can you talk about the rigor and routine that you've either learned, that you've been implementing as it relates to the daily calendar, the daily to-do list? Because I know that so many entrepreneurs really do
Yeah,
struggle with that before we begin working with them.
yeah. I think I never took the time to do a to-do list, and so I always kind of just like prided myself on, oh, I can remember everything. And then you get to building a business, and it's like it's impossible to remember every aspect. And so then I'm just like constantly through the day, you're kind of stressed on. I feel like I'm forgetting something, and I don't know what that is. And it ends up being every day that you're forgetting something. Like, shoot, I should have done that. You get home or you get in the shower when you actually can think clearly. So um, that's been helpful just to get things written down, and it takes a while to figure out like what your best way of doing that is. Whether you're going to keep your to do list um, on paper with you all the time, which I like to do, have it on paper, but sometimes I'm not close to it, and I can put it in my notes section and then just transfer it over. But I used to always view that as like a waste of time. To I feel like I'm not working if I'm taking time to do a to-do list, um or like schedule. I would like panic and like I'm wasting these 30 minutes and when I could be doing some other task. And I think that was one of the biggest things when I first came to the conference of like, okay, it is actually worth my time to take time to kind of schedule things and figure out what I need to get done ahead of time. You can get things done so much faster when you have a to-do list you're working through.
And I want to ask you this, and throughout my career, I've never not had advisors or coaches. It's probably because I read Rich Dad Poor Dad at a very young age. I grew up without money, so I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki's book, who we've had on the show. And Robert said, any area of your life where you want to get better, you got to have a coach. So amateurs don't have coaches, but professionals do have coaches. Amateurs don't have coaches, professionals do. And I thought that makes sense. So when it came to growing my business, I reached out to Winners King. They've always coached me in the legal aspects of my company. CCK reached out to me. A lot of these people I've worked with for 20 years. CCK, this is the accounting firm I work with. And so when I meet with them, the purpose is to keep my business from ever having problems. What do you say to somebody out there that, they've never had a coach? They've never gone to thrivetimeshow.com. They've never scheduled a free 13-point assessment. And they're going, because people hear all the time, they say, Clay, you spend how much with your accountant? How much with your attorney? And when they hear I pay an attorney, $4,000 a month, or when they hear I pay my accountant $4,000 a month, they go, every month? Why? And I go, well, I'm building multi-million-dollar companies, and I don't want to have an accounting problem. I want to have a proactive approach. People say, well, why do you pay your lawyer $4,000 a month? I don't want to have a legal problem, which is why I pay lawyers. What do you say to somebody out there that's never had a coach or a performance, a business coach to guide them down a path?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of hesitation because people are going to be like, oh, they're going to tell me how to run my business. And because most entrepreneurs are like a little bit hard-headed and are used to doing their own thing, not having a boss. And I would say the coaching piece is just more keeping you on track and getting you dialed into what task you should be focused on. And not so much like, oh, you need to change and redo everything that you're doing in your business. It's more like a lot of things that we have been doing, we've continued to do, like on the operation side, and a lot of stuff we already doing really efficiently. But it's just more keeping you on task because if you're not tracking weekly, if I didn't have the coaching call coming up, I would be like, oh, we'll focus on reviews next week, or I'll go get those videos or images next week. And then it would continue to get pushed off because you're always going to run out of time. You're going to have your time pulled in many different directions. So I would say just like, it's not anything to be intimidated about. And it just helps you stay on track, and nobody's yelling at you or anything. It's just more like you just have that natural thing like, okay, my call's coming up tomorrow. I better get these things done. Natural
Well,
accountability.
now I have two final questions for. I'm going to pull up your website. First off,
Yep.
why should everybody look into northwestfarmfresh.com? If they're in the area, they're in that marketplace, they happen to live
Yep.
in your region, what is it that makes, in your mind, northwestfarmfresh.com unique from the other service providers in your area?
Yeah. So we're raising everything on pasture, doing non-GMO feed. The beef are butchered, dry ages for 14 days, the whole carcass. So a world of difference in flavor and quality. And then we're delivering right to your doorstep. So if you're comparing to like Butcher Box or some of these nationwide ones, we're delivering ourselves. So we're not having to charge an extra, $10 a pound and calling it free shipping. You're getting it directly from the farmer. You're able to support a local business, a business that's right in your state, um, and getting meat that's from animals that are growing right here in Washington, or like our lambs growing in Oregon. So we have customers like down in Portland area, um, and they're getting, everyone that's getting meat from us, the cattle or pigs, chicken are raised within, a 3 or 4 hour radius of them. So it's a great way to get local meat and support a local family, local small business.
Final question I have for you. Business coaching, obviously you believe in your product and what you do there with your website. And when someone goes to your website and orders food, you feel good about that purchase they make at
Yep.
northwestfarmfresh.com. I feel the same. I've been doing business consulting for 21 years, and I know that when people reach out to us, my heavily biased opinion based on years of experience is that people that pay us will generate far more money than they're paying us. And in a world where Inc. magazine reports, this is a stat I'll pull up on the screen, Inc. magazine reports that by default in America today, 96% of businesses are going to fail, according to Inc. magazine. That's not my statistic. That's Inc. magazine surveying countless business owners. They're saying that 96% of businesses fail. The USDebtClock.org, always an encouraging website to go to. It shows there's 343 million Americans, but now there's just 8.7 million self-employed people. So a lot of numbers to think about, folks, but think about it. If 10% of our population was self-employed, which it's not, that would be 34.3 million self-employed people. If just 10% of our population was self-employed, there'd be 34.3 million self-employed people. But there's not. There's 8.7 million self-employed people. So we're down to under 3% of our population is self-employed, and 96% of businesses fail. So what happens is you have by default a 1 out of 1,000 shot of becoming successful as an entrepreneur. Yet when you go to thrivetimeshow.com and you click on testimonials, you're going to see literally 2,000 plus client success stories spanning almost every industry you can think of and spanning 21 years. But I want to get your thoughts on it. What is somebody missing out on if they don't schedule a free 13-point assessment for some one-on-one business coaching?
I mean, I think they're really missing on just being dialed in, and you're not just playing a guessing game and wasting a bunch of marketing dollars at things that may or may not work. Or, like in the case that you just mentioned earlier, that guy had many vehicles that he didn't even know about, or just sitting there. You just a lot of wasted revenue when you're on your own. And I always looked at it like the $1,700. You just got to say how many more leads is that going to generate, and what would you normally pay for that many more leads? So if you get 17 more leads and you're willing to pay $100 per lead, depends on your, industry, um, or 17 more customers or whatever it is, that's only $100 a customer. So most industries, everyone would pay $100 to if they knew they were going to get a customer. So it's an easy way to quantify it. Once you get going for a few months and can start seeing the increase, it's like, okay, I'm paying $1,700 and I'm getting 30 more customers or 34 more customers. It's $50 a lead. So it's just I feel like it's a no brainer in that aspect because it's really just simple math. Like, okay, I'm going to pay these guys this amount. It seems it's really fair. And they're doing more than just one aspect of your business. It's not just like I'm paying this amount only for marketing. It's for the entire business, all aspects of it.
Now, folks, if you learned anything at all from today's show, I encourage you to go to northwestfarmfresh.com, northwestfarmfresh.com. What that does is that helps today's guest to actually rank higher in the search engine results. So again, if you learned something, you go to northwestfarmfresh.com and you say, what do I do then? Just by going there, by the way, folks, an original person just going to the website, it boosts the rank of the website. The second thing, though, is if you could share a link to this show on your social media, it also is going to help Mark and his family reach more people. So again, go to northwestfarmfresh.com, share it on your social media. Mark, I really do appreciate you, sir. Thanks for carving out time. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
4,000% from February to February. Now I can better that. Okay, Clay, I don't think you know this. I don't think you know this. I'm pinching myself, and if I cry, forgive me. In the last 2.5 days, we have bettered our entire month of February in the last 2.5 days. So, and the phone's blowing up. Everything's just blowing up. You're right. It is like a rocket ship. So we're pinching ourselves, actually.
I learned at the Academy, Kings Point in New York, acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say.
Devin, we oftentimes at thrivetimeshow.com, we interact with some really great people. In fact, if anybody goes to thrivetimeshow.com and they schedule that first free 13-point assessment with me, you're sort of like the filter. I mean, you talk to, people every day.
Yep.
And certain people are not a good fit. We call these people happy hopers. And certain people are a good fit. We call these people diligent doers. What's the difference? A diligent doer has an actual product or service that makes sense. They have a prototype or an actual product or service. They have an actual viable plan where they can sell a real product or service to real people. And a happy hoper is somebody that doesn't have a real product or service. And a while back, these wonderful people, they reached out to us and we scheduled a 13-point assessment. And I knew that they would be successful for two reasons. One, they are diligent doers. And the second is they had an actual product that they could sell to real people on the real planet Earth. And they gave a sample to my wife. They gave a sample of their product to my wife. And my wife, Devin, who doesn't coach clients, doesn't mentor clients, she stays out of that. She works on the accounting side. She tells me this stuff is incredible. This is incredible stuff. And so at that point, I recognized, we're going to have a business that's going to blow up. And so I wanted to get them on the show while the business is actually taking off. Like they're actually currently joining us from a figurative rocket ship. Their business is taking off next level. I'm excited to have them on. This is the founders of Givaderm. Ladies, welcome on to the Thrivetime Show. How are you?
It's such an honor. Thank you so much for having us on. We're having so much fun right now. It's unbelievable.
We're pinching ourselves.
So first off, for people out there that don't know who you two are, I'm going to let you two introduce yourselves and introduce your product so people can Google you and verify you're not a hologram.
Absolutely. So we are a toxin-free skincare company, and we're really trying to bring the words luxury and zero toxicity together. And it's just been a wild ride. Honestly, my mom had a crazy health scare.
Hi, I'm Deborah.
And sorry, I'm Julianne. I'm the co-founder. And I'm her daughter. And so it's just, you know what? It's just been a wild ride. And honestly, we were pretty we knew we had something. We knew we had something that was incredible. But then honestly, we were pretty stagnant. We didn't really know what direction to go. And then all of a sudden, on one of our super late nights, my mom looked at me and she goes, we've heard a lot about clay, and I think we're supposed to call, like, maybe get that assessment. And I was like, within like 5 seconds, I launched that form over to you guys.
It's a holy moment, actually, because I'm a major introvert. And she's like, I never thought for a minute you'd do that. But I honestly felt like the Lord said, do this. So we did. And I think we shared yesterday, not yesterday, at the conference last weekend, that this February, from last February, we were up 4,000% in our business.
Can you repeat that? How much have you grown as a person?
4,000% from February to February. Now I can better that. Okay, Clay, I don't think you know this. I'm pinching myself, and if I cry, forgive me. In the last 2.5 days, we have bettered our entire month of February in the last 2.5 days. So, and the phone's blowing up. Everything's just blowing up. You're right. It is like a rocket ship. So we're pinching ourselves, actually.
I mean this sincerely, and I wanted to get Devin on the show because she talks to so many wonderful people.
We love Devin.
Go to thrivetimeshow.com. And the challenge we have is that we're sort of like an incubator, and I can only work with 160 clients, so it's like a football team and you only have 52 roster spots. We only have 160. And the reason why is, Devin, with your clients, you meet with your clients once a week.
Yep.
But a client, you might talk to them 3 times during the week.
Right.
Because we're doing the photography, the videography, the web, the search engine, coaching them, guiding them, mentoring them. And I really wanted to drill down into the successes that your business has experienced as a result of you two diligent doers putting in the work there. So first is you guys are doing the Dream 100. Now, the Dream 100 is a system that I don't know why. And Deborah, I'm going to ask you the question. So I don't know why, and I'm not attacking you. This is not a passive aggressive attack. I don't know why people are reluctant to do it. I don't know. So, in my life, anytime I want to get, for example, Tim Tebow to speak at our upcoming business conference, I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to call. And then if I get rejected, which I often do, I will then email. And if I get rejected via email, I will then text. And if I get rejected, and Devin, you have worked here for about a year-ish.
Almost 2
years. And on the agenda, did I not put on the agenda, book Tim Tebow for June conference? Did I not put it on there for it seems like maybe 6 consecutive months?
Yes, you did have it on there.
And I've been chasing that reality, turning that into to have Tim Tebow speak at our events for 10 consecutive years. So from the age of 33 to the age of 43, I've had the same action item on my to-do list. And the reason why is because my literary agent, Esther Federkevich, she represents Tim Tebow and myself. And a lot of people in our orbits kept saying, Tim should speak at your conferences. And so, you have to reach out to people you don't know, because this just in, people don't wake up with a burning desire to pay you. And the product, as good as it is, it's not going to sell itself. So even though my wife is saying, Givaderm is hot sauce, it is the best skincare product I've ever seen, everybody should buy this, that doesn't mean people are going to buy it unless they know about you. So I want to ask you that specifically, Deborah, the Dream 100, making a list of 100 people that you do not know and reaching out to them to offer them free samples. What was the challenging part about doing that?
We had to identify our audience first, because your Dream 100 can go everywhere, but you have to specifically identify your audience. And then it is work, because you're kind of intimidated and you're like, is this real? Is this really going to work? And so you just have to press into that and keep pressing into that. And you just do what you're told to do. I know that sounds basic, but that's why we have hired you to tell us what to do. And so we just had to keep at it and keep at it.
Now, Devin, you work with very reasonable clients. None of our clients are unreasonable, of course not. What is the hard part that people have when you tell them to do the Dream 100? Because these two are doing it. This is something that Juliana and Deborah, they're doing it. What is the issue? As I'm trying to help somebody out there that's stuck.
Dealing with rejection.
There it is. Now,
100%.
I used to stutter as a kid. So let me just walk you through how that works. If you can't speak well and you get mocked at a young age, at a certain point, you just quit caring what people think. So, that's at a certain point, you just quit caring what people think. So, do you see this, Devin, in our office? We have a lot of employees.
Mm-hmm.
There's gossip, there's rumors, there's jackassery, whatever. Yesterday I was dealing with a situation, so I just call the person involved, ask them directly, call both people, wrap it up. I don't know if that upsets people. I don't know, but I don't think about it. I just want to solve the problem. And I think we've solved the problem. It could be you, but if you're avoiding conflict or rejection, you're just not going to have success. So pro tip number one is you could stutter a lot and then get to a point where you no longer care. That's option number one. Option number two is you just become numb. You just get to a point where you say Matthew 5:10-11, blessed are ye who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for ye shall inherit the kingdom of heaven. So you just say, I don't worry about what people think. Or you just run around like you're dumb. I don't know if you go dumb or numb. Juliana, I want to ask you, what's your approach? Do you try to go dumb? Do you try to go numb? Do you try to pray your way through it? How do you push?
All of the above.
All of it.
And I say all of the above. It just depends upon how it hits me. Dumb, numb, and pray through it. It all of those are true. Absolutely.
Now,
Absolutely.
just so we're clear about what I mean by this, this is some strategic stuff here. Being dumb, it is a move that I use often. So,
100%.
yesterday I was, and I'll be very vague. Yesterday I was looking at buying a potential property for a thing I'm working on. And, I just began breaking all the boundaries. I don't mind knocking on a door and talking to somebody. I don't mind calling a property that's not for sale and asking, will you sell it? I don't mind talking to the neighbor and saying, what do you know about this property? I don't mind. And I just sort of go in like I'm dumb, like, hey, everybody, is this property for sale? I mean, that's just sort of the mindset. And certain people go, I can't believe you just did that, but okay, that works. Or you can get numb, but you got to do it. Okay, so you made the Dream 100 of these influencers, people that have access to the your ideal and likely buyers. You've given them samples.
Yes.
That's working. Second is you have to optimize the pricing. Now, the pricing is a thing, Devin, and I'm sure you've never dealt with this. Your clients haven't either. I'm sure the Give It Nerve folks haven't either. But I find a lot of people are afraid to charge what something's worth.
Yeah.
So let me start with an example of that doesn't relate to anybody I've ever met before. And this would be the entrepreneur that has a great product, but is afraid to charge what they should charge because they don't want to offend, they don't want to overcharge, they don't want to take advantage of. And so they actually create an unprofitable business. So the more they sell, the more they create a daily hell. What am I saying? The more they sell, the more they create this perpetual hell because they actually are selling something at a loss or they're barely breaking even. Just the other day, I was talking to a home remodeler who was telling me that the busier he gets, the more money he loses. He was at our conference. And I go, how does that work? And he's like, well, I don't want to gouge people. And I said, so what? And so this guy, he's not a client, but he came to our conference and he was telling me that his business, he listens to our show and he's been implementing the things he can without being a client. And he said, but the problem is the more business I get, the more I lose money. And I go, how is that possible? And he's actually charging people what it costs him to provide the service, or he's doing it at a loss. And I couldn't understand it. I want to ask you two now, going back to Deborah here on the pricing thing. Has that been something that we've worked through together, or maybe what's your,
100%,
how have we kind of coached you or worked with you on the pricing?
Yeah, well, Andrew, our coach, has worked with us because I am one of those people that as a consumer, I watch the budget. And so at the same time, our products have incredible ingredients and they are all natural. So we have to cover our expenses. And so you guys have worked with us to watch our margins, to be able to know what our margins are and know what we have to price, or we're not going to be able to make this company available. We won't make it. And so you guys have been incredible, an incredible asset helping us do that.
I want to ask your thoughts here, Juliana. Talk to me about that, the pricing thing. What have we helped you through the pricing, or what would be your comments on that?
100%. Actually, it is interesting because when you set your prices where they need to be, that it actually attracts the customers that you want. And although it's been hard to consider pricing and hard to consider what we need to make, what, like, as far as just covering the costs, and then what we need to make on top of that to just continue to be sustainable, it is incredible because it's been I feel like I said, it's attracting your ideal and likely buyer. So it's beautiful.
How has coaching, we'll get into more details, but how has coaching, Juliana, how has that impacted your business? If you had to describe it to somebody, you're sitting next to someone at a conference and they're like, okay, so you've worked with, Clay Clark's coaching system, or with, you've worked with Devin, or you've worked with Andrew, because you've probably interacted with our whole team at this point. I mean, you've probably talked to Devin on the phone. You've probably been to a conference. You've probably interacted with Andrew every week on the phone. You've probably interacted with our whole team at this point. And someone says to you, how has it impacted your life? What would you say?
I would say it's the equivalent. I've never seen the show, but I've heard of the show Naked and Afraid, where you're dumped in the middle of God only knows where. And it's like, you know what? I have this great idea. I want to be dumped in the middle of God only knows where, and I have a product that will help people, but I don't know how to actually make a way. And it's literally like hiring a guide that is experienced, that knows what they're doing, and that can really just absolutely, even when there have been times that I'm like, I don't even know where we are. I feel like I'm totally blind, even in the initial coaching process. And it was like, okay, but great news. We've got our coach call tomorrow. It's going to be great. And so it's just this incredible feeling of knowing that somebody has our back, and knowing that they know what to do. And then also knowing that, and honestly, I would be a little bit disappointed if I hired a business coach that wasn't a multimillionaire. And so, I'm just super grateful that you're successful. And so we wanted to go, what, he must know if he must know a few things, or a few thing or two.
That's right. Yeah.
That's
So
funny. What's interesting about what we do is, last night, I'll be very vague because I don't know when the show's coming out. I don't want to date the show that way. But, last night my wife and I were talking about some things, and she said to me, she goes, I'm so glad that I'm aware of how to achieve success, because when our daughter asks, it's great to be able to tell her the answers. She was just kind of reflecting, because our daughter's 20 years old, and she's asking questions about buying her first property, and my wife is like, well, you want to buy low, obviously. Yeah, buy low, but you want to think about that. And my wife started talking to her about generating revenue streams. Like, you want to have a property where you could maybe rent out an extra room to someone you can trust, or maybe you could rent it out in the future, or maybe you buy it low, you add value to it. And my wife was really getting into like a home flipping seminar.
Wow.
But it was a thing where we've just done it so much that we forgot that is a question that a 19-year-old has, or a 20-year-old has, that people have never bought a house before. And my wife was putting on this like home flipping seminar of what makes a home more valuable, the moves you can do that are inexpensive but add a lot of life to the property. And again, if you've never flipped a house before, it can be overwhelming. But in our case, we've done it so much. The other day, someone was asking us, I think my wife and I have lived in 15 separate houses. It could be 16, because we just were buying, renovating, moving, and we just doing it. And so it's kind of become normal. Growing a business is kind of normal. So if you're out there watching today and you feel overwhelmed, you feel stuck, these are two great examples of people that are real people we've actually worked with. We are working with. They are currently in the figurative rocket ship. The figurative rocket ship. They're blasting off. Sales are happening nonstop. I appreciate them taking some time to talk to us about this. The next is we got to track. We have to track. And people always tell me, I'm so busy, I don't have time to track. Now, Devin, your clients have never told you that.
No.
But can you walk me through why other people who don't listen to our show and are not your clients, why people might not track?
They're scared to look at the numbers.
There's a thing there. The other thing I would say is people like to always delegate to their spouse, to their partner. So the alpha, if it's a female-owned business and the woman is the founder, she will usually delegate the finances to the person that joined. Like, so the founder usually likes to delegate the finances to somebody else. That's usually what happens. Or if it's a male, he'll delegate it to, his wife. Or if it's the wife who started it, she'll delegate it to her husband. Or if it's a sister, she'll delegate it to her brother. It seems like in the family-owned business, the founder always delegates the tracking to somebody else. I just see that as a pattern. And it seems like if they're not related, it just seems like they'll delegate it to whoever they just hired. So imagine you go to work for someone, you're 25 years old, you just got hired by a 40-year-old, and they go, hey, by the way, you're in charge of tracking. And I see that. And then the person who's in charge of tracking, they might not be diligent. They might be disorganized. They might be organized. I don't know. But what happens is then they sort of now have removed themselves from direct responsibility. I wanted to ask you, Deborah, on the tracking, how do you two track? Because it is really depressing when you're tracking 100% of zero sales this week. I mean, that could be depressing. And it could seem like a waste of time, but now as you're actually selling, it becomes increasingly important. So start with you there, Deborah, the tracking thing. How do you guys handle that?
Well, we have our tracking sheet that Andrew helped us put together. And you're right, it's absolutely mandatory. And because we have a product that has to be manufactured, you have to know how much every item costs, down to the packing tape, the fragile stickers, and all this kind of stuff. So it's imperative that you know what's happening. And that's what, and like I said, Andrew's helped. We do that together. We kind of stay in it. I tend to lean into the manufacturing part of it, where I needed to know exactly how much that shipper cost, exactly how much, that void fill cost, exactly how much the decoration on our bottles. All that you have to know it. Otherwise you'll wake up one day and you're consumed. You're done. So
Juliana,
you just have to know it.
You have any thoughts on that? Because again, you two are working as a business owner. You're doing the marketing, the sales, the hiring, the firing. They're shipping things. How would you describe your tracking process?
You know what, we had an approximate idea before we started working with you, but then getting the specifics has been incredible. And it's not hard. It's just anything that goes out, you track, and then anything that comes in, you track. But it does take effort. You have to put a little bit of effort into it. And so I would just say it's invaluable. It's one of those things that if you don't understand potentially where there's a leak in the boat, then you just have to, because you have to do these. It's basically constant
to-dos as well.
Yeah, constant weekly inspections of the boat, if you will. And so it's really good.
It is. And again, this is so big. Constant inspections. I think that a lot of people struggle with boredom. But the great clients I've had, they bore down. So you have to do the same thing every day. Devin, have you ever worked at a restaurant?
I haven't.
You haven't?
No.
Oh man. You probably never will then. But have you two ever worked at a restaurant? Juliana, have you ever worked at a restaurant?
No.
Deborah, have you? Well, let me walk you through. Let me just walk you through my experience at Applebee's. I'll walk you through Applebee's. I worked at Applebee's. And our job is every single day when I worked there, 20 something years ago, you have to have out the fresh salad. So you open up that walk-in freezer, and a guy from Cisco or whoever delivers the salad, he's going to deliver the fresh salad, and you have to throw away the bad salad every single day. You bring in the fresh meat, you throw out the bad meat every single day. Then you prepare your they call it the house salad prep. So you basically make the house salads and you put them in this room. And so when somebody orders it, they're ready to go, and you have to, there's like a process. Every day you clean the bathrooms. Every single day you wipe off all the tables. Every single day you dust every single window. Every single day you wipe off the glass. And it's a checklist every day. And I found that the top waiters, of which I was not one, I had a good attitude, but I wasn't nearly as skilled as other people who'd been doing it a long time. They would come in to work right away, and they would wipe down the windows, mop the floor, get everything ready to go. And they were ready to go before the first customer walked in. But I found that the bad ones would always say things like, all we ever do is do the same thing every day. And then my boss, Ian, would go, yeah, because it's a restaurant. And all we ever do is serve food to great people. That's what we do. So, but I think certain people get bored with that monotonous stuff, and you guys do a really good job of nailing that. The next is the website creation. And the website, it's not a one and done. It is a process of continual improvement. There's endless iterations. We're always updating. I'm never happy with the website. I'm happy today. But if I look at it too long, I go, I kind of want to tweak that. We always want to make a small little enhancement. We always want to add a new testimonial. We always want to add a new endorsement. As I look at it right now, Just my pro tip, and I'll tell Andrew, but maybe you can tell him that I told you this before you talked to Andrew. Any of the bigger names that are starting to endorse you, we get the as seen on, like endorsed by. So when you click on testimonials, it's like endorsed by, and you start to get more and more big names. So I look at one of my clients called Moms on a Mission. What a great job she does. And as she's booking bigger and bigger guests, we keep adding the as seen on. Now, you don't want it to get in the way of the product, but you got to make sure we get, because you're starting to have some
That's
big
awesome.
time names that endorse your
Yes.
product. Could you share with the listeners, what's it been like having a consultant that also does the web development? Because we do the photography, the video, the web, the search engine, all of that is all one-stop shop. What's that been like there, Deborah, having just a one-stop shop for everything?
There are really no words, because whenever you're trying to start a business, you're so overwhelmed. You're watching everything. This is new territory for you, so you're having to learn everything the best you can. So to have someone come in that is an expert in this field and can say, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do, and this is what you need to do, it's like done. I mean, also the pricing, as I've heard, but thank God we didn't go there, but to have someone develop your website is astoundingly outrageous. So to be able to have that incorporated in the coaching has been such a blessing. It's just there are really few words. Without a website, we're sunk. So.
Devin, I want to tell you a story that's going to depress you. Okay.
Okay.
How old are you right now? How old are you?
23.
Okay. So when you were not born yet, you're not yet born. Seriously, when you were not born yet. I started this. Your mom and dad are probably on a date. I started this company called DJ Connection, right? And I thought, well, I'm going to do is I'm going to work at Applebee's, Target, and DirecTV. That's a true story. So 1998, 1997, I'm growing this business. 1999, I'm growing it. And I got this website. I needed a website. Needed to have a website. So I went to a web guy. I won't mention the guy's name, although I want to. Well, I know I will mention it. I will mention the website because it's not a bad thing. It's just a fact. So I hired a company called Creative State to build my website for me. It's called Creative State. And Brent Lawless was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. This is his company, Creative State Web Development. There it is. Boom. And I paid him to build my website for me. And, it was at that time, I look back at it and I go, wow. But we're talking about thousands of dollars was spent to build said website, and thousands and thousands. And so I was paying unbelievable amounts of money. We're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to build the website. And then every time I wanted to make a change, there were certain costs to it. Now, he's gone on to build, website products and promotion for Taylor Swift. He's done stuff for Garth Brooks, and he's really a kind of a household name boutique in the web space. He's done a great job. But my thought was, if I'm going to build a website, I want to have the guy who built Garth Brooks's website. Because at that time, Garth Brooks was like the #1 music star in the world. I'm going to hire that guy. And I'm glad I did. But if I were to tell you that it was $1,700 a month, because we charge our clients $1,700 a month, it's a flat rate, $1,700 per month. And that includes the coaching, the mentorship, the conferences, everything, all the introductions, all the PR, all the marketing, the video, the photography, the web, the accounting. But this guy, he didn't apologize for the price. You can imagine, because the guy's built the website for Taylor Swift and Garth Brooks. You can imagine. So it's more like, well, $15,000, we'll get a conversation started. And I'm going, and I just remember him saying to me, I remember people telling me, well, you need to get a video on your website. I thought, I do need to get a video on my website. So all I'll do is I'll get a video on my website. And I go, so do you guys do the video? He goes, no, we don't do video. But I have a guy I recommend. Right. And the video guy says, true story, for $8,000, I could make you the promotional video. 8,000. What? 8,000. Okay, and then the website's 15. I'm up to 23. I work at Applebee's, Target, and DirecTV. I'm making like $8.25 an hour plus tips sometimes at Applebee's. You don't get tips at Target. So I'm working, and then I go, okay, and then I need to hire a PR person to help me do my PR, to get in front of the media, to get, and the PR people are like, well, it's a retainer, and it'll be, $5,000 a month for 1 year. So I'm out $60,000 for that. I got the website. So then I start thinking, I need to sell something. Because I'm going to need to sell something soon. So my Yellow Page ad was $2,500 a month for my Yellow Page ad on top of the other things. So I remember it was the craziest thing ever, because I'm working at Applebee's. Could you imagine, Devin, right now at your age, And could you imagine you talk to your mom and dad, and your mom and dad says, "How are you?" And you say, "I'm doing great." They say, "What have you been up to?" You said, "I agreed to pay $2,500 a month for the next year on an ad that hasn't been proven to work. And by the way, I'm paying a PR company $4,000 a month." And by the way, BruceClay.com, that's the search engine company that is probably the highest rated, he writes the Search Engine for Dummies book. And you're going to pay about $8,000 a month for a 12-month contract. So you're, $96,000 to teach to have him. Could you imagine explaining that to your mom or your dad? How would that go over?
They'd think I'm stupid or something.
If you guys were building Give a Durham today, and imagine you hopped on your coaching call with Andrew, and Andrew says, what you need to do is you need to go out there and pay $2,500 a month for your advertising, pay $4,000 a month for PR, 18,000, actually 15,000 for the website. But every time you make a change, it's like $1,000. And then you also, what would happen there, Juliana, if that was the recommendations he was going to give you?
Fight, what is it? Fight, fly, or freeze, or whatever. I don't know. Like, I think I would just be like, bye. Like, good luck with everything. I can't do it. Like, it's just not sustainable.
This is what I did. I took a photo with the Yellow Page guy. I said, if I'm going to pay you $2,500 a month, I need a photo. So there he is, Jeremy McCaslin.
Awesome.
Did a photo
That's
with my
amazing.
Yellow Page guy. And that's the kind of stuff I would do just to kind of capture it. But I always thought to myself, at some point, I'm going to build when people started asking me to help them grow their company, I thought, you know what, I'm going to make it, I'm going to provide the entire coaching system for less money than it would cost to hire an hourly employee. And so now, final thing I want to ask you guys is we help you with the systems, creating the systems, the optimization, turnkey, the entire workflow, marketing, sales, branding, PR, accounting, all of it coming together as one unified song, all the different instruments put together. They make a beautiful orchestra. It all comes together. I want to ask you this, Deborah, what's that worth to you? I know you pay $1,700 a month. I know that I make a 20% profit on every client. So we make, just to be very clear, $340 a month per client. What's that been worth to you?
Wait, sincerely, everything. I don't want to use cliche words, but I can't find words that could adequately describe how you have literally changed our lives. It made it affordable. It made it affordable. Yes, 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 yes. I'm not saying that, I was $1,700 a month. But then when you saw everything that is included, it's like, oh my gosh, it's only $1,700 a month. But it has changed our life. Our company, I can say hand on heart, our company would not be where it is without you guys. Hand on heart. There's absolutely no way. You've brought us the experience, the connections, the consistency, the kick in the pants when we needed it. Oh, we didn't need it hardly at all, Andrew. And so we're just there's sincerely, it's very hard to express how amazed we are. And we do feel like God was on this from the beginning. And we thank him for introducing us to you guys. And then you guys have just, we've literally hitched our wagon to your horses. And that's
true.
what it's been like. That's what
It's
we
true.
talk about that a lot. And we're pinching ourselves. I mean, how often can someone say in 2.5 days, we bettered a month's worth of sales, which was 4,000% higher than the year before. I mean, and the phone's blowing up. I mean,
Now, obviously, Deborah is paying us, Devin, to say that. So we'll go to a more reasonable person. Juliana, how would you describe it? Because there's somebody out there right now who believes that they don't qualify for success. That's what I hear all the time. And I grew up poor, and I'll never forget what it was like to be poor. And so I never want anybody to think they don't qualify. We have scholarship options to make it work for people. But what would you say to somebody who's on the outside of the website right now, listening to this show, and they're like, I don't know if it'll work for me? What would you say?
Don't be afraid, and don't be afraid to admit where you are now. Because honestly, it was really, when we did our assessment with you, Clay, we were like, well, we're doing this much a month, and that's embarrassing, and we're doing this much, and
we didn't think we would qualify. I mean, we didn't.
And I think to really understand your heart for people and your heart for excellence for people. And like Mom said, I think I've told you this before, but it was absolutely uncanny to the point that at one point we had like a connection, an additional connection with you. And that morning, and then that afternoon, one of our biggest influencers mentioned us in her broadcast.
Yeah.
And so literally you carry so much momentum. So I would say to anybody out there that's considering doing this, to give it a shot, to just go
Please don't
for it.
hesitate.
And honestly, just look at your budget and take out the things that are unnecessary so that you can afford to do this business coaching, because what you're getting is absolutely outrageous. And for whatever it's worth, I was even able to text Andrew multiple times. We're like panicked, going, the website's down, or the website's blah, blah, blah. And he's like, we're on it. We're good. We got it done, handled it. And it was just like, oh my gosh, just to feel like we could trust fall with you guys when it is not none of this is my skill set. None of it. It's all uncomfortable. And to know that you have a well-oiled machine that we can go, oh, can we just come into that and just go, yes, I'll take your systems. It's incredible. It's been absolutely outrageous. And we look back and we laugh, but right now we are in a rocket ship.
Yeah.
And we're just going, oh gosh, we're gonna have to. It's such a beautiful way. It's like, I think we're gonna have to hire more people, and I think we're gonna actually have to work, like literally have crews work around the clock for fulfillment. And then we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do that, and then we may have to go there. We may have to get more, more storage units. We may have to do whatever. And it's just we're to that fun part, but it's also managing growth.
Well,
but what I love is that we can still even ask you, hey, where we are right now, is it wise to do this, or should we stay here? And it's incredible. It's been wonderful.
My favorite part, and then I'll let you guys go. I love it when it's overwhelming. You're out of office space and everybody's selling something. That to me is the most exciting part where people begin to share a desk, they share a chair. It gets socially awkward because your desk, you recognize that a box of product has become your desk. You recognize that you're taking notes on boxes, and that's exciting stuff. That's where you can't find your wallet because everything's being shipped in and out. That's an exciting place to be. So I encourage everybody, check out the Givaderm product today for anybody out there, and don't not do it because I'm endorsing it. Check it out, givaderm.com. Go there, givaderm.com. Check it out there. And then the final question is, how do we accurately pronounce your last name? Because you spell your last name, it's Grimnes. So someone's going, Grimes.
That's it. You got it the first time.
If you add an S, you will pronounce it correctly.
Yeah. So think of it. My dad would say, think of it as like, don't say this, Dad. He's like, think of it as like the grimness of the situation. I'm like, Dad, that's not good. Don't say that. No, don't. It's good. No. Like, anyway.
Thank you, Team Grimness. Have a great day. You guys are doing a great job. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
It's been an honor. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye. Are you looking to start or grow a super successful business? Join Eric Trump, the New York Times bestselling author of The Carnivore Diet, Sean Baker. Join hundreds of real business owner client success stories at the highest rated business conference in America. Join Mel K, Julie Green, Amanda Grace, Pastor Dave Scarlett, and myself in Tulsa, Oklahoma, November 5th and 6th. Attend the most real, the most authentic, the highest rated, and most reviewed Ultimate Business Growth Workshop. During this 2-day interactive business workshop, you're going to learn everything you need to know to make your business grow. Learn how to generate more sales. Learn how to produce additional high-quality inbound leads. Learn how to create repeatable systems. Learn how to build a successful business. And learn how to do it now. If you've ever wanted to learn how to start and grow a super successful company, this is the event for you. At our 2-day interactive business workshop, we will teach you specifically every step that you need to take to start and grow a super successful company. We will teach you specifically how to get to the top of the Google search engine results, how to dominate artificial intelligence search results, how to market via social media, how to generate more leads, and how to get in front of your ideal and likely buyers. We're going to teach you the step-by-step processes that you need to learn in order to hire, inspire, train, and retain high-quality employees and teammates. We're going to teach you specifically what you need to learn to manage a team of people. We're going to teach you how to manage your finances, how to look at the numbers, and to figure out the specific steps that you need to take to create a time freedom and financial freedom producing business. At the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshop, we've been teaching entrepreneurs everything they need to know to start and grow a successful company since 2005. In fact, at our 2-day interactive business workshops, we're going to teach you marketing, systems, and scaling, human resources, accounting, social media marketing, branding, search engine optimization, sales training, financial management, and so much more. You can learn more and request tickets today simply by going to thrivetimeshow.com. Yes, you can request tickets today simply by going to thrivetimeshow.com. That's the website. Join Eric Trump, myself, and Team America live and in person at the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshop, November 5th and 6th in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
My name is Kevin Thomas, and the name of our company is MultiClean. We are a commercial janitorial service, and we serve the entire state of Oklahoma and Kansas, and soon to be Arkansas. We have probably grown probably 5 times. We've added, I think when we first started with you, we had 60 to 65 employees. And now we have a little over 300 employees. Before we got involved with Thrivetime, we didn't really have any systems or processes in place. So I've probably been to, in 6-7 years, I've probably been to 12 to 13 business conferences. And amazingly, each time I go, I learn something new, and I'm so excited to bring it back and show the team about marketing and how to implement.
Okay, Aaron Antis, November 5th and 6th. Guess who's coming back to Tulsa? I will give you a hint. His first name is Eric, and his last name is Trump. Whoa. And his father is the 47th president of these United States. Yes, Eric Trump is joining us once again here September 25th and 26th in Tulsa, Oklahoma for the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show Business Growth Workshop. But Eric Trump is bringing friends. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Amanda Grace will be in the place. Dr. Stella Emanuel will be here in T-Town in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Julie Green will be on the scene. Mel K will be here to say hey. Dave Scarlett from the His Glory team will be here. It's going to be a blasty blast right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. If you want to start or grow a super successful company, if you want to make your wallet great again or make your wallet great for the first time, if you want to learn marketing, systems, scaling, human resources, accounting, social media, branding, search engine optimization, sales training, financial management, and more, get your tickets right now at thrivetimeshow.com. Once again, that's thrivetimeshow.com.
Hey, I'm Ryan Wimpy. I'm originally from Tulsa, born and raised here. I've definitely learned a lot about life design and making sure the business serves you. The linear workflow for us and getting everything out on paper and documented is really important. Like we have workflows that are kind of all over the place, so having linear workflow and seeing that mapped out on multiple different boards is pretty awesome. That's really helpful for me. The atmosphere here is awesome. I definitely just stared at the walls, figuring out how to make my facility look like this place. This place rocks. It's invigorating. The walls are super, it's just very cool. The atmosphere is cool. The people are nice. It's a pretty cool place to be. Very good learning atmosphere. I literally want to model it and steal everything that's here at this facility and basically create it just on our business side. Play is hilarious. I literally laughed so hard that I started having tears yesterday. And we've been learning a lot, which, you know, we've been sitting here, we've been learning a lot, and so the humor definitely helps. It breaks it up. But the content is awesome, off the charts, and it's very interactive. You can raise your hand. It's not like you're just listening to the professor speak, you know. The wizard teaches, but the wizard interacts and he takes questions, so that's awesome. If you're not attending the conference, you're missing about 3/4 to half of your life. You're definitely, it's probably worth a couple $1,000s. So you're missing the thought process of someone that's already started like 9 profitable businesses. So not only is it a lot of good information, but just getting in the thought.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
Well, people don't know this, but the Trump organization has thousands of employees. There's not 50 employees. The Trump organization, again, most people don't know this, but the Trump organization has thousands of employees. And while Donald J. Trump was the 45th president of these United States, he needed a competent man to run and execute his business plans. Showtime! So the man that runs the Trump organization for Donald J. Trump, as he was the 45th president of the United States and now the 47th president of the United States, is Eric Trump. And so Eric Trump is here to talk about time management, promoting from within, marketing, branding, quality control, sales systems, workflow design, workflow mapping, how to build. I mean, everything that you see, the Trump hotels, the Trump golf courses, all their products, the man who manages billions of dollars of real estate and thousands of employees is here to teach us how to do it.
You are talking about one of the greatest brands on the planet from a business standpoint.
Right.
I mean, who else has been able to create a brand like the Trump brand? I mean, look at it. And this is the man behind the business for the last pretty much since 2015. He's been the man behind it. So you're talking, we're into 9 going into 10 years of him running it, and we get to tap into that knowledge. That's going to be amazing.
Now, think about this for a second.
But that Clay Clark, man, he is one character.
It's a good word for him, character. Yeah, that is it.
Good, driven, smart. And I've never met a guy who was so hyper all the time. He's doing so much good. And then I met his mother, and she just says, she just lets him be Clay Clark. I mean, so he's endorsed by his mother, and he's doing magnificent work. So it was great meeting you out there and all the people that he surrounds himself with. Clay Clark starts his days at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah, he's a machine. He's a machine.
But I have problems with my company starting at 9 o'clock. Yes, hundreds of people showing up at 5 a.m. in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Man, he's a leader of a leader. He's a fantastic young man.
No, he is.
The lineup continues to grow, and this is how we do our tickets here at the Thrivetime Show. If you want to get a VIP ticket, you can absolutely do it. It's $500 for a VIP ticket. We've always done it that way. Now, if you want to take a general admission ticket, it's $250 or whatever price you want to pay. And the reason why I do that, and the reason why we do that is because we want to make our events affordable for everybody. I grew up without money. I totally understand what it's like to be in a tight spot. So if you want to attend, it's $250 or whatever price you want to pay. That's how I do it. And it's $500 for a VIP ticket. Now, we only have limited seating here. With the most people we've ever had in this building was for the Jim Brewer presentation. Jim Brewer came here, the legendary comedian Jim Brewer came to Tulsa. And we had
718 people. 718 people.
And I thought to myself, there's no more room. I felt kind of bad that a couple people had VIP seats in the men's restroom. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. But I thought, you know what? We should probably add on. So again, if you want to get tickets for this event, all you have to do is go to thrivetimeshow.com. Go to thrivetimeshow.com. When you go to thrivetimeshow.com, you'll go there, you'll request a ticket, boom. Or if you want to text me, if you want a little bit faster service, you say, I want you to call me right now. Just text my number. It's my cell phone number, my personal cell phone number. We'll keep that private between you, me, everybody. We'll keep that private. And anybody. Don't share that with anybody except for everybody. That's my private cell phone number. It's 918-851-0102. 918-851-0102. I know we have a lot of Spanish-speaking people that attend these conferences, and to be bilingually sensitive, my cell phone number is 918-851-0102.
That is not actually bilingual. That's just saying Juan for a one. It's not the same thing.
I think you're attacking me. Now, let's talk about this. Now, what kind of stuff will you learn at the Thrivetime Show workshop? So, Aaron, you've been to many of these over the past 7-8 years, so let's talk about it. I'll tee up the thing, and then you tell me what you're going to learn here, okay?
Okay.
You're going to learn marketing and branding. What are we going to learn about marketing and branding?
Oh, yeah. We're going to dive into, so many people say, I got to get my brand known out there, like the Trump brand, right? You want to get that brand brand out there. It's like, how do I actually make people know what my business is and make it a household name? You're going to learn some intricacies of how you can do that.
You're going to learn sales. So many people struggle to sell something. This just in, your business will go to hell if you can't sell. So we're going to teach you sales. We're going to teach you search engine optimization, how to come up top in the search engine results. We're going to teach you how to manage people. Aaron, you have managed, no exaggeration, hundreds of people throughout your career and thousands of contractors. And most people struggle with managing people. Why does everybody have to learn how to manage people?
Well, because first of all, you either have great people or you have people who suck. And so it can be a challenge. Learning how to work with a large group of people and get everybody pulling in the same direction can be a challenge. But if you have the right systems, you have the right processes, and you're really good at selecting great ones, and we have a process we teach about how to find great people. When you start with the people who have a great attitude, they're teachable, they're driven, all of those things, then you can get those people all pulling in the same direction.
So we're going to teach you branding, marketing, sales, search engine optimization. We're going to teach you accounting. We're going to teach you personal finance, how to manage your finance. We're going to teach you time management. How do you manage your time? How do you get more done during a typical day? How do you build an organization if you're not organized? How do you do organization? How do you build an org chart? Everything that you need to know to start and grow a business will be taught during this 2-day interactive business workshop. Now, let me tell you how the format is set up here. And again, folks, this is a 2-day interactive 15. Think about this, folks. It's 2 days. Each day it starts at 7 a.m. and it goes until 5 p.m. So from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., 2 days. It's a 2-day interactive workshop. The way we do it is we do a 30-minute teaching session, and then we break for 15 minutes for a question and answer session. So, Aaron, what kind of great stuff happens during that 15-minute question and answer session after every teaching session?
I actually think it's the best part about the workshops, because here's what happens. I've been to lots of these things over the years. I've paid many thousands of dollars to go to them. And you go in there and they talk in vague generalities, and they're constantly upselling you for something, trying to get you to buy this thing or that thing or this program or this membership. And you leave not getting your very specific questions answered about your business or your employees or what you're doing on your marketing. And what's awesome about this is we literally answer every single question that any person asks, and it's very specific to what your business is.
And what we do is we allow you as the attendee to write your questions on the whiteboard.
Yep.
And then we literally, as you mentioned, we answer every single question on the whiteboard. And then we take a 15-minute break to stretch and to make it entertaining when you're stretching. This is a true story. When you get up and stretch, you'll be greeted by mariachis. There's going to probably be alpaca here, llamas, helicopter rides, a coffee bar, a snow cone. There's just...
You had a crocodile one time. That was pretty interesting.
I should write that down. And I can do that.
Sorry for that one guy that we lost.
The crocodile, we duct taped its face so that we duct taped.
No, it was a baby crocodile.
And it was duct tape.
Yeah, duct tape around the mouth so it didn't bite anybody. But it was really cool passing that thing around and
I should do that. We have a small petting zoo that will be assembled. It's going to be great. And then you're in the company of hundreds of entrepreneurs. So there's not a lot of people in America today. In fact, there's less than 10 million people today, according to U.S. Debt Clock, that identify as being self-employed. So if you have a country with 350 million people, that means you have less than 3% of our population that's even self-employed. Yeah. So you only have 3 out of every 100 people in America that are self-employed to begin with. And when Inc. magazine reports that 96% of businesses fail by default, you have a 1 out of 1,000 chance of succeeding in the game of business. But yet the average client that you and I work with, we can typically double this. And this is no hyperbole, no exaggeration. And I have thousands of testimonials to back this up. We have thousands of testimonials to back it up. But when you work with a home builder, when I work with a business owner, we can typically double the size of the company within 24 months.
Yeah.
Double. And you say double? Yeah, there's businesses that we have tripled. There's businesses we've grown 8x. There's so many examples you can see at thrivetimeshow.com. But again, this is the most interactive, best business workshop on the planet. This is objectively the highest rated and most reviewed business workshop on the planet.
I was looking to learn how to take my business, like they've said today, from being very successful to being systematic. I've got a very successful practice in 3 different cities, make good money, just want to take it to the next level with systems and processes to where I can drive my cars more.
Paul Hood.
I have been a CPA for 33 years.
And what kind of growth have you and your great team had here over the past, let's say, 5-6 years?
The last when I met you 5 years ago, we were doing 3 million. This year we'll do 24 million.
Whoa. And you say, Clay, I'm not going to get a ticket unless you give me more. Okay, fine. We're going to serve you the same meal both days. True story. We cater in the food, and because I keep it simple, I literally bring in the same food both days for lunch. It's Ted Escondido's, an incredible Mexican restaurant. That's going to happen. And if someone says, I want more, this is not enough.
Give me more.
Okay. I'm not going to mention their names right now because I'm working on it behind the scenes here. But we've got one guy who's given me a verbal to be here. And this is a guy who's one of the wealthiest people in Oklahoma. And nobody really knows who he is because he's built systems that are very utilitarian, that offer a lot of value. He's made a lot of money in it's where you rent. It's short term. It's where you're renting storage spaces. He's a storage space guy. He owns what do you call that? The rental,
a storage space.
Storage units.
Yeah.
This guy owns storage units. He owns railroad cars. He owns a lot of assets that make money on a daily basis, but they're not like customer facing. Most people don't know who owns the mini storage facility, or most people don't know who owns the warehouse that's passively making money. Most people don't know who owns the railroad cars, but this guy, he's given me a verbal that he will be here, and we just continue to add more and more success stories. So if you're out there today and you want to change your life, you want to give yourself an incredible gift, you want a life-changing experience, you want to learn how to start and grow a company, go to thrivetimeshow.com. Go there right now, thrivetimeshow.com. Request a ticket for the 2-day interactive event.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Thomas Crossan, owner and founder of Full Package Media in Dallas, Texas. I've been a coaching client with Clay Clark since the beginning of our business. We started about a year ago, August of last year. I had no clients, no idea what we were doing, no clue really what was going on. And now we've grown to where we've got 6 photographers, we've got office space here. I have an admin, sales person that works for us full time, developing an online system. And a lot of that growth we attribute to Clay helping us. And there's so many things that, his stuff is not, revolutionary. It's not this crazy walk on hot coals and all this stuff. It's just real stuff.
It's going to be a blasty blast. There's no upsells. Aaron, I could not be more excited about this event.
I think it is incredible. And there's somebody out there right now, you're watching and you're like, but I already signed up for this incredible other program called Smoke Your Way to Thin. I think that's going to change your life. I promise you, this will be 10 times better than that.
Whoa. It's like I picked the wrong week to quit smoking.
Don't do the Smoke Your Way to Thin conference. I've tried it. Don't do it.
Yeah, chain smoking is not a viable. It is life-changing. It is life-changing. If you become a chain smoker, it is life-changing.
Not the best weight loss program, though.
Right. Really. So if you're looking to have life-changing results in a way that won't cause you to have a stoma, get your tickets at thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's Aaron Antis. I'm Clay Clark, and reminding you and inviting you to come out to the 2-day interactive Thrive Time Show workshop right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I promise you, it will be a life-changing experience. We can't wait to see you right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Whoa.
What kind of growth have you had since you and I have been working together over these past few years?
3.45 million. I got those stats before I got on here.
So you've grown by 3.45 million.
Yeah, 3,450,000.
Would that be like if you took the combined revenue, maybe doubled it? Have we gone up by
about almost 3, not quite.
Whoa.